Well, I guess we got a lot of good news to talk about in today's episode, along with iOS 17 and of course the Samsung Galaxy S24. But for those of you like myself that were looking forward to the Mac Studio, hing-a-ding-a-durgan, it's in the works. Let's talk about it. Alrighty, the first story, the main story of the day, let's talk about the Samsung Galaxy S24. Ha! You thought I was going to start the show with Apple. Why would I start with Apple? Although they do make the most money nowadays. But anyway, story number one, let's talk about the S24. Now, I did a short talking about the previous two stories we're going to talk about, but as promised, I like to take those stories and expand on them with more details and give you guys the most transparent video as possible. So for those of you that are watching from the short, thank you for subscribing and thank you for watching. But anyway, starting off the story, we're hearing reports that the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is reportedly going to be getting a brand new camera system, but instead of it being a new, bigger lens setup, it will be replacing one less lens. Now, the report for this story is a little bit on the convoluted side, but essentially what Samsung is looking to do, it hasn't been confirmed, but there are internal testings that they will be replacing the periscope lens with a newer system, a more modular lens system that can expand from the 2x to the 10x zoom all in one lens. On top of that, this new camera system technology will act as a 4-way setup instead of a 5-lens setup, so it'll be very similar to what Apple is doing with the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max, but Samsung have great lenses, so we don't even need to talk about the comparison between the two. But the essential goal of the S24 Ultra's camera system is longevity. The goal is to make sure that the camera system can last and sustain high quality image processing and high quality image taking for the long term, which is something that has plagued Samsung phones for at least around the 2-3 year mark of a Samsung phone. So it seems that what Samsung is focusing on with the S24 is longevity, and mostly in the camera department. Now, here's the thing. I normally don't like a lot of lenses on a phone. I'm a simple guy. I am perfectly fine with 3 cameras. Heck, I'm even fine with 2 cameras. But normally, I would say I'm glad that they're replacing something with something new. And while I do feel this way, I do question its impact when it launches, if this is what Samsung is going to do. Because if we take a look at the current status of smartphones, they're putting more and more lenses. And while it is a little bit convoluted at times, it does give you more technology, more bang for your buck. But this new camera technology that Samsung wants to adapt, the question now will become, how will it perform in real time, in the real world, when people are taking their photos? It'll probably work the way that all cameras work, and just fine. Because let's be honest here, we're not really gonna go out there and try to be taking, model pics and ruining people's day by walking through the goddamn crowds at a UFC event just showing yourself off. Oh wait, people actually do that nowadays. But the point is, cameras are cameras on smartphones. And let's be real here. Anybody that uses a camera, you know exactly what you're getting into. But in regards to the S24 Ultra, they're highlighting a new camera technology system. So I'm very interested to see how well this plays out in real time. And I do admire Samsung. This is the one thing I will say, and then we'll move on to the next story. But the last thing I gotta say is I always admire Samsung for taking risks. Sure, sometimes those risks don't pay off, and sometimes they do. But you gotta give them credit where credit is due, and Samsung genuinely take a lot of risks, and I give them hell of a credit for that. So, yeah. Alrighty, story number 2, let's talk about iOS 17. Now again, another short that I talked about. Essentially, iOS 17 is shaping up to be a bigger update, more for the iPhone 14 Pro than any of the other iPhones. Now, normally this is the same trajectory that we've seen with all iOS updates, and this isn't really news-breaking, groundbreaking, and other things. But taking a deeper dive into the statistics and diving into the details, we can see that this is actually going to be a real big game changer, especially when the iPhone 15 launches. According to the reports, iOS 17 will be adding more functionality to the OS, adapting to the dynamic island, making it more customizable, allowing for more, things to adapt to it, making it more interactive, which is kind of weird, but also very smart on Apple's part. On top of that, they will also be making a big breakthrough in their AR kit, utilizing the camera technology, And to round it all off, iOS 17 is reportedly going to pave the way for future iPhones with Dynamic Island and also that form factor, because as we know, the 15 and 15 Plus are going to be getting Dynamic Island. So just to round off this story, I know a lot of people don't really get excited for iOS updates, and I'm one of those people. I haven't been excited for an iOS update since iOS 12, maybe iOS 11. But after that, I haven't been really excited. But I am very curious to see what Apple is going to do differently with iOS 17 in regards to the new series phones and what it highlights in terms of the phones themselves for the Dynamic Island models that are coming. Because this is what they did with the iPhones setting up with iOS 11 with the notch. So now we're going into a new area with Dynamic Island, and that's where the big breakthrough is going. So I want to see what they do with that, and I am definitely interested, and we'll keep you updated when WWDC launches, and of course we'll rant and rave as usual. And now a word from our sponsor. So as you know, the Technoid Show is a proud affiliate of Slate Chocolate Milk. Slate Milk has been kind enough to work with the Technoid Show for almost a year now, and I am happy to announce that they have really stepped it up in regards to protein milk for those that work out like myself, but also for people that are lactose intolerant. Slate Milk is lactose free. It is also low on sugars and carbs. It is only 100 calories depending on the model you get, but most importantly, their flavors are delicious. I have drank them numerous times on my channel if you have not seen, and they have some great flavors from the original classic chocolate to mocha, dark chocolate, French vanilla, latte, etc., etc. And now with their new powder formula, which you can now add to make your own, they've just expanded their lineup even more. Head on over to slatemilk.com, check out all their flavors and choices, use a promo code Technoid to save yourself some money at checkout. And most importantly, thank you so much to Slate Milk for being a part of the Technoid Show. Now we get that out of the way, let's get to the last story. And the last story, the final story of the day, let's talk about the Mac Studio. Now, I talked about a video a long time ago where I said that the Mac Studio was reportedly not happening, and it broke my heart. I will be honest, I love a desktop Mac. I am tired of using my laptop. I do love having my laptop, but I have to admit I don't use it as a laptop as much. Well, it looks like the good tech lords of heaven have heard my cries and the hundreds of others, because it seems, according to reports, that Apple is secretly internally testing a brand new version of the Mac Studio. This is, again, just a report. This is not concrete, but we are hearing that they are internally testing a new Mac Studio. We don't know any details of what chip it is using. There are reports saying it will just be the M2 Max, which will be the step-up version from the Mac Mini, and they're reserving the M2 Ultra for the Mac, I believe, Pro, which is the model that everybody wants to hear about. So all I can say on this story is that I am genuinely happy that they're not getting rid of the Mac Studio. That thing is a monster. It is made for content creators like myself. It is a great computer at a great price point. And I'm telling you right now, as soon as they announce a Mac Studio, I am trading in my MacBook Pro and I'm going the desktop life. So Geek Squad 3.0 coming your way in the future.